أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Lesson number 76, Surah Al-Maidah, ayah number 94 to 108. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who have believed, لَيَبْلُوَنَّكُمُ اللَّهُ بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الصَّيْدِ. Allah will surely test you through something of the game, through something of the hunting animals. تَنَالُهُ أَيْدِيكُمْ وَرِمَاحُكُمْ, that your hands and spears can reach very easily. لِيَعْلَمَ اللَّهُ مَنْ يَخَافُهُ بِالْغَيْبِ, that Allah may make evident those who fear Him in the unseen. فَمَنْ يَعْتَدَى بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ فَلَهُ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ, and whoever transgresses after that, for him is a painful punishment. This ayah was revealed with regards to the journey of the Sahaba radhiyallahu anhum with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which they went from Medina towards Makkah in order to perform Umrah for the first time when they went collectively. And this is when they weren't able to perform the Umrah because the mushrikeen did not allow them to enter Makkah, and this is when the Treaty of Hudaybiyah was made. So basically when the Sahaba, when they were going from Medina to Makkah in order to perform the Umrah, and the journey of Umrah is a very peaceful journey. Why? Because it's a journey of ibadah. Which is why when a person reaches a particular point, what does he have to do? He has to put on the ihram. That now my focus is what? The Umrah. That I am going for that particular reason, and there are certain things that I'm not allowed to do, which I'm allowed to do otherwise. Like for example, cutting your nails even, cutting your hair even. Any kind of relationship between a husband and wife even is not permissible. So things that are permissible otherwise are not permissible in the state of ihram. Why? So that a person can focus on the goal, on the purpose that he is undertaking that journey for. And this is why the journey of Umrah or Hajj is a very peaceful journey. Because remember, just imagine, if there are a group of people, one is cutting their hair, another is cutting his nails, how difficult it would be. So these few days when you're all traveling together, you have to be very peaceful. There are certain things you're not allowed to do because everybody has to focus on the goal. But when a person tries to do something good, he's always tested. Whenever he tries to do something good, he's always tested. You stand up for salah, and what happens? Your mind goes everywhere. That's your test. What do? Do you try to control your thoughts, or do you drift away? So, similarly, the Sahaba also, they were tested on this journey. What was their test? Remember that in the state of Ihram, a person is not allowed to hunt. And we learned that the Sahaba, by their camping area, there were so many wild game and birds within their reach. They could literally catch them by hand. And they could literally, just shoot a spear very easily and they could catch the game very easily. So this was a test. That it's coming right before you, but you're not allowed to hunt. So over here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who have believed, لَيَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ. Surely, definitely, Allah is going to test you. Meaning this is definitely going to happen. Allah will definitely test you. Why? Because this life is a test. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created life and death. Why? So that He may test us. As we read in Surah Al-Mulk, خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ أَيُّكُمْ أَحْسَنُ عَمَلًا. He's testing us. That what do we do in different situations? In a situation where a sin is made very easy for us, what do? A situation where committing a crime is very easy for us, what do? A situation where obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is difficult, what do? This life is a test. And every single moment, every single second is a test. That who does good and who does bad. Who obeys Allah and who does not obey Allah. Some of these tests, they're very obvious. And sometimes these tests are not that obvious. Sometimes they are external. And sometimes they are internal. You have to fight with your own nafs. You have to fight with your own heart. You have to fight with your own mind. And sometimes you have to fight against external reasons, external opposition. Similarly, sometimes these tests are very great, very huge. We think that it's impossible to pass such a test. It's impossible to deal with it. And sometimes they're very small. So لَيَبْلُوَنَّكُمُ اللَّهُ, surely Allah will definitely test you, بِشَيْءٍ مِّنَ الصَّيْدِ, with something of the hunting animal. The word sayd, as you know, is used for what? A game animal, meaning a hunting animal. Basically, animals that are hunted for food. People also hunt them for the purpose of sport. However, in our deen, hunting for the purpose of eating is permissible only. If you're hunting for the purpose of sport, that is not permissible. Like, for example, we learn about once some group of the youth, they had this rooster and they had tied it up and they were throwing arrows on it. They had basically made it a target, that let's see who can shoot the most arrows on the target. And Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu passed by from there, and when he came, everybody dispersed because they got scared of him. And Ibn Umar radiallahu anhu got so upset, he said, the Prophet ﷺ has cursed a person who does such an action. So there's la'na, the curse, on who? On a person who hunts an animal or who makes an animal a target for his game. So the hunting that is permissible in our deen is only for the purpose of what? Food. So Allah will definitely test you with something of hunting, and these hunting animals, these game animals, تَنَالُهُ, it will reach it. تَنَالُ from the root letters noon, ya, lam, nail. So it's going to reach it. What does it refer to? تَنَالُهُ. What does the who refer to? The sayd. And what is going to reach it? أَيْدِيكُمْ, your hands, وَرِمَاحُكُمْ, and your spears. Rimah is a plural of rumh. And rumh is used for a spear. So your hands and your spears can easily reach these game animals. So for example, with the hand, for instance, if it's a small animal, the person can just pick it up by his hand. Or for example, if it is an animal that is on the ground, it's close by, you can literally just catch it with your hand and that's it. You have it. And rimahukum, what animal do you hunt with your spear? An animal that is distant. Or for example, if it's a bird that is flying in the air or a bird that is sitting on the tree or something like that. So these animals will be so close to you that you will be literally able to catch them by hand, or with the throw of a spear you can hunt them. But Allah is testing you because you're not allowed to hunt at this time. لِيَعْلَمَ اللَّهُ, lam over here is of illah, of reason. That why is this going to happen? So that Allah may know, meaning Allah may make known, مَنْ يَخَافُهُ بِالْغَيْبِ, who is it that fears Allah in the unseen? Who fears Allah bil-ghayb? What does it mean by fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bil-ghayb? It gives us two meanings. First of all, when a person is in the unseen from people, meaning when a person is absent from people, in the sense that a person is alone. Because what is ghayb? That which is hidden, that which is absent. So who is it that fears Allah when he is alone, when other people are not watching him? When other people are not watching him, he is in the unseen from the rest of the people. And secondly, مَنْ يَخَافُهُ بِالْغَيْبِ, what this means is that while Allah is absent from him, meaning while he does not see Allah. What is ihsan? أَن تَعْبُدَ اللَّهَ كَأَنَّكَ تَرَاهُ وَإِن لَمْ تَكُنْ تَرَاهُ فَإِنَّهُ يَرَاكَ. So, مَنْ يَخَافُهُ بِالْغَيْبِ is that while Allah is absent to the eyes of the person. That a person cannot see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but still he fears Him. Still he fears Him. Like for example, generally what happens with us? If we're doing something, and we know that a particular person, if they see us doing it, they're not going to like it. What do? We don't do that particular action in front of them. And when they're not there, then we do it. When we can see them, we don't do it. When we cannot see them, then we do it. But with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He can see us all the time. Therefore, fearing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the unseen means that a person fears Him while he cannot even see Allah. He still remembers Him. He still is mindful of Him. And about this in Surah Yasin, what do we learn? That إِنَّمَا تُنذِرُ مَنِ اتَّبَعَ الذِّكْرَ وَخَشِيَ الرَّحْمَنَ بِالْغَيْبِ فَبَشِّرْهُ بِمَغْفِرَةٍ وَأَجْرٍ كَرِيمٍ. That a person who fears Allah in the unseen, he is the one who takes benefit from the reminder. So therefore, give him good news of forgiveness and give him good news of a noble reward, of a very generous reward. So over here, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to test you through these situations, that who is it that fears Allah even when other people are not watching him? That nobody's watching me, let me just catch this animal. Nobody's watching me, nobody will find out. فَمَنْ اعْتَدَى بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ. Then whoever transgressed after that. How? By hunting. By not refraining from the prohibited. And after what? What does ذَلِكَ refer to? After this hukum of abstaining from hunting in the state of ihram. That after knowing what is permissible and what is not permissible, if a person transgresses, meaning he doesn't care about what is permissible and what is not permissible, then for him, فَلَهُ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ, for him is a painful punishment. This is very serious. Because what do we think generally? That doesn't matter, I will do it and later on I will seek forgiveness. Or it's okay, eventually I will go to Jannah. So it doesn't matter. Or Allah is Ghafurur Rahim. Even if I know I shouldn't be doing this, I'll do it anyway. No big deal. It's okay. But what does Allah say? That whoever transgresses after knowing, after learning, then for him is a painful punishment. What do we learn from this ayah? This ayah clearly mentions how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it easy for a person to commit a sin sometimes. He provides the opportunity to a person to commit an act of ma'asiyah. He enables him. That literally the opportunity falls in a person's lap. It's right there. It's very easy for him. It's right before him. But what is this? Does this mean that since you're able to do it, then do it anyway? Because that's what we think sometimes. That if it wasn't good for me, then I wouldn't have gotten the opportunity. If I got the opportunity, that means this is fine. That's what we think. But in reality, what is it? It's actually a test. It's actually a test. That it's very easy for you to commit a sin. It's right before you. It falls in your lap. You have the opportunity, you have the ability, and you are fully capable of doing it. But what is it in reality? It's a test. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing us that who is going to fear Allah, and out of that fear, he is going to stay away from it. And who is not going to fear Allah, and he's going to do it. Allah is testing us. And the same test the Bani Israel were also tested with. When? The Sabbath. When the fish would come up to the surface of the sea. They said that on the Saturday, the fish would come up to the surface. They could see them. And on the rest of the days, they wouldn't come. This was their test. But they knew that they're not allowed to hunt on Saturdays. So what happened? What did they do? They put the net on Fridays and they took it out on Sundays. So that was going against the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They were not allowed to hunt on that day, to fish on that day. So we see that sometimes the opportunity comes right before us. And if you look at it, if you compare it with the situation that the Sahaba were in, that think of the game, the hunting animal, as something that a person desires, something that a person likes, something that a person finds attraction in. And just remember that the Arabs in particular, they would love hunting. They would love hunting. So just imagine something that you like to do, something that you find is beneficial for you. I mean, if you hunt an animal, you can eat it. Especially if you're traveling, it's actually good for you. If you're traveling, you have limited food anyway. So it's actually good for a person if he manages to hunt an animal and he can eat it. However, it's a test. So think of the game as something that you like, something that you desire, something that you find attraction in. It could be an action. It could be a particular food. It could be a particular person. It could be a place. It could be anything that a person finds attraction in. However, it is not permissible. It is not permissible for him. What happens when it comes right before you? What do you want to do? What do you want to do? Let me just try it. Let me just touch it. Let me just look at it. But even looking at it and admiring it and staring at it and looking at it with desire and just touching it even, just trying it even that is not permissible. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, لا تقربوا الزنا. Don't even go near zina. Don't even go near the haram. So we see that on the one hand, the nafs is pulling you. Your heart is pulling you. That this is something that you like and it's right before you. The opportunity is right there. It's facilitated for you. It's so easy. All you have to do is just sign a paper. You know, when people are offering you money and they're offering you one card after the other, and all you have to do is sign up and they tell you, you're going to get so many benefits. All you have to do is just sign. That's it. That's all you need to do. However, that's a test. That what are you going to do? Are you going to fall in that situation? Are you going to hold back? So on the one hand, your nafs is pulling you. And on the other hand, the command of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pulling you. This is a test. Just like when a person is fasting, the food is right before him. And sometimes he takes it up to his mouth even, out of forgetfulness. But he's not allowed to eat it. That, for instance, for a child, if they see even $1 or a penny on the floor, what do they want? They want to keep it with themselves. But even that is a test for them. That what do they do with it? And sometimes it's just, I'm sure you can come up with many examples in your head about how the opportunity to sin is right before you. At that time, many times we think that, because it's okay for me, that's why I'm getting this opportunity. Maybe it's good for me. Allah wants me to do it. This is why He's giving me the tawfiq. It's okay for me to do it. However, it's not okay for you to do it. At that time, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is testing you. Secondly, we also learn from this ayah that a person should be careful when a sin or an act of disobedience is made easy for him. And he should hold himself back and he should not fall in the trap of shaitan. He should not fall at that time. And at that time, one should remember Yusuf alayhi salam. That how the opportunity to sin was right before him. Right before him. That the woman, she had been tempting him since a long time, and now she had closed the doors, and now she openly said to him, come. So just imagine for any man to be in that situation. What would he say? Then maybe it's okay for me. That's why, I'm put in this situation. He didn't say that. What did he say? قَالَ مَعَاذَ اللَّهِ. I seek refuge with Allah. So at that time, instead of falling, what should a person do? Hold himself back. And if a person holds back with the fear that Allah is watching me, even if other people are not watching me, then Allah will reward him in a way that nobody can reward him. What do we learn about a man who refuses a woman in such a situation? That he will be one of the 7 who will be given the shade under the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, on the day when there is no other shade. So, sometimes when the opportunity to sin is right before you, what is our responsibility? That we must hold ourselves back. Don't consider yourself to be so weak. Don't handicap yourself. Don't think that you're so weak. You're not that weak. Don't say, I can't get out of this situation. No, you can get out of this situation. Allah is testing you. And لَا يُكَلِّفُ اللَّهُ نَفْسًا إِلَّا وُسْعَهَا. We also learn from this ayah that a person should fear Allah regarding disobeying Him even when others are not watching. Because what is the test? مَن يَخَافُهُ بِالْغَيْبِ. Who is going to fear Allah in the unseen? Meaning when people are not watching me, what am I going to do? Like sometimes people will not turn the TV on when other people are there. When they're alone, then they will turn the TV on. And then they will not watch the news or the sports channel, but they will watch something else that they will not watch in front of other people. Similarly, on the computer, What do some people do? If it's in front of everybody, then they will refrain from certain websites. And if they're alone, then they will do things which are not appropriate. So what is it that really stops a person from falling in this situation? It's the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So sometimes we don't do or say something out of the fear of people, that if we do it, if we say it, our reputation is going to get ruined. But whose reputation is good? The one whose reputation is good in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The one who stays away from sin, whether he's with people or he is alone. This is the test. We also learn from this ayah that what helps a person pass such a test is the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That my Rabb is watching me. Even if people are not watching me, even if the opportunity is right before me, even if it's within my reach, I will not do it. Why? Because of the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. My Rabb is watching me. So what really helps a person pass such a test is the fear of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Similarly, we also learn from this ayah that a person who commits haram, who commits an act of ma'asiyah, after knowing the hukum concerning it, for him is painful punishment. This is a severe warning. فَمَنْ اِعْتَدَى بَعْدَ ذَلِكَ فَلَهُ عَذَابٌ أَلِيمٌ. One is that a person doesn't know if something is allowed or not, if a particular food is haram or halal, or if a particular kind of financial contract is halal or haram. A person does not know, and he's doing it out of ignorance. He's not going to be held accountable. Why? Because he doesn't know. He did it out of ignorance. But the other is that a person finds out. The other is that a person finds out. And upon finding out, what does he do? One option is that a person continues to do what he's doing. And the other option is that a person changes his ways according to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So a person who commits haram, who does something wrong after knowledge, for him is a painful punishment. This is a severe warning. And this is why we see that Yusuf alayhi salam, what did he say? That Rabbi sijnu ahabbu ilayya. That, oh my Lord, the prison is more beloved to me. Why? This prison of the world is nothing compared to the prison of the akhirah. This prison of the world is nothing compared to the prison of the akhirah. So, a person who commits haram after knowledge, for him is a painful punishment. Therefore, a person should, especially after knowledge, what should he do? He should change his ways according to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another very important lesson that we learn from this ayah is that after a person learns about what is permissible and what is not permissible, so after gaining knowledge basically, then he is definitely tested. He is definitely tested. So be ready. Be ready. Because Allah says over here, لَا يَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ. He will definitely test you. So now that you've learned what you're supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do, what is permissible, what is not permissible, you're definitely going to be put in tests. That in this situation, what do you do? When somebody offers you something haram to eat, what do you do? When somebody asks you to bring a glass for them so that they can pour their wine, what do you do? After learning that anyone who cooperates with the other even in drinking alcohol is what? Even he is cursed. So this is a test. That am I going to fear Allah in that situation, or am I going to fear people in that situation? Sometimes people give up. Why? Because of social pressure. Social pressure. Peer pressure. That what is that person going to say? What is that person going to say? I'm the only one here. So let me change a little bit. Let me compromise a little bit. So what does that mean? That a person has failed the test. Who has passed the test? The one who sticks to the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if he is alone. And you will see that in the entire Surah Al-Maidah, we have learned about so many commands. And now, towards the end of the surah, we are learning that now you'll be tested. Isn't this a mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He's telling us? That you will be put into situations where your knowledge is going to be tested. Where your fear of Allah is going to be tested. Because true knowledge is what? That which is implemented. Practical test. That when you learn something, you're tested on the theory, on the knowledge part, and then you're also tested in the practical field. So, our responsibility is to test you with regards to your theory, And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to test you with regards to the practical part, the practical aspect, that what do you do in life? What do you do in different situations?